You're listening to Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. We just had Senator David Vitter on the program, and we sure appreciate him taking time out of a busy day to visit with us and give us some of his insights for what it's worth. I mean, obviously, it's worth a lot to us, but can he get those points across to his Republican colleagues? I don't. That's a whole other story, but we know where he stands on those issues, and I appreciate him agreeing to come on here publicly and say what they are, because certainly he'll get criticized for it by members of his own party in all likelihood. We were talking to Rebecca. Rebecca's from Arkansas, and Rebecca called me on Saturday and said she was going to a town hall, I think it was Saturday, and gave me some information that she was going to go to this town hall meeting and told me what she was going to do, and I asked her to report back to me. She did that. That's what she's doing on the line. By the way, our phone line's 866-300-9298. And so what did your representative tell you, that there was no way we could, that funding Obamacare was basically a bad idea, right, Rebecca?
That's right. He likes the incremental delaying tactics and he had a whole list of things they had done to take away portions of Obamacare already. But he never answered all of it. And he is afraid for the 2014 elections. We don't want Nancy Pelosi as Speaker again. We want John Boehner to stay in. Well, I don't. But
right, he's better. He's better
anyway,
than the alternative.
He's very fearful, and I didn't get to tell him that we want people with backbone to represent us. We cannot stand the Republicans, some of them, in there right now. There are some strong ones. I wish David Vitter had sounded just a little stronger on defunding. That was a problem I had with his words.
Yeah, well, that was strong for Senator Vitter, by the way. He's not a real, fiery guy, but I think just the fact that he certainly, as he said, I'm certainly advocating for defunding and has written the leadership about it. But, and that's, if everybody would do even that, if they don't have the, get up there and, the Ted Cruz kind of mentality, which David Vitter, I shouldn't say mentality, has the mentality, but, everybody attacks it from a different approach. But I think, it's funny because Womack's a Republican, right?
Yes.
So you've got the Republican over there talking to at a town hall meeting, folks, about the delaying tactics, and they like the way it's going. The delaying tactics that have happened to date have all been initiatives from President Obama. Republicans haven't put these forth. What's he talking about? I mean, all he's saying is that he likes what the president's doing. And, we need, when we hear these guys say that, we need to call them out. And exactly what are the delaying tactics that the GOP is doing or the conservatives are doing? You mean you're just happy with what the president's doing, even though the president's breaking the law, going against the Constitution in rewriting? But that's okay. They're happy with that. And are they going to take credit for that, or they're going to take some sort of joy and want the voters to for them jumping on President Obama's bandwagon so that the Democrats don't have to face this in 2014? That's all this is about. The president's delaying it because he knows he's going to lose seats if these things go through. So that was kind of a lame defense, but. I'm glad we need people like Rebecca. Thank you for giving me that update. And folks, we need people like Rebecca stepping up. I mean, that's what we need. That's what we need to happen. That's what's got to happen. This has to be the people movement. This can't be a movement by any one particular politician. I think we've all learned by now that if we are going to depend upon a particular politician, we're in big trouble. Because that's never going to happen. It's got to be the people. I think the only thing that we can depend on in this nation right now is the American people. Make no mistake about it. Now, we need to start, whether it's a grassroots effort or it's an incredible showing at every town hall meeting that's held. We've got to get out there and voice our opinion. Let me go to Marcia. Marcia calling us from Illinois, 866-300-9298. Hey, Marcia.
Hi, Dan. How are you? Can
I'm
you
good.
hear me?
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I sure can.
Yeah, I'm just speechless. I wonder what these representatives, who they think got them into office to begin with, and if they go to these town hall meetings, and they're faced with what their people want them to do. I mean, don't they realize they could be taken out of position as easily as they were put in? I mean, I'm just, I don't know. It's like, who are they scared of if they're not scared of their own constituents?
Well, they're scared of the lobbyists. They're afraid of. So if John Boehner says, and Eric Cantor say, look, guys, this is going to be detrimental to you getting reelected. Not this is going to be detrimental to Americans or the American economy or the well-being of America. No. This is going to be detrimental to you getting reelected. And you better think this, because what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to use this against us. This is what they're going to say. They're going to use it against us. Now, this mentality is because there are no GOP strategists that are able to take that and use it against the Democrats. They don't think like that. They just allow the Democrats to set the agenda and the talking points for everything they want to do, and then they try to live with it or work within it somehow so that they can possibly get elected. That's what they've been doing for years, and that's the problem. So that's who they're listening to. They're listening to their so-called leadership, and that's why I get so fired up about the Boehners, the McConnells, the Eric Cantors. Would I rather have Boehner than Nancy Pelosi? Yeah, no doubt about it. Who wouldn't? But at the same time, they're the ones that are driving the agenda, the royal elites that are out there that are getting the airtime, the John McCains, the Mitch McConnells, the Boehners, and the rest that are getting the airtime, that are driving the agenda, particularly if you have a young congressman that is, going for a second or only a third term in the House of Representatives. They're very easily controlled and swayed. So that's who they're listening to. They're not listening to their voters. They're not listening to that. They are dependent upon the fact that Boehner is going to assure them that they're going to get the votes. You got to remember, too, these guys are dependent upon getting money from the National Republican committees. They're dependent upon that. And don't think that threat is not hung over their heads by the leadership of the Republican Party. It is, probably every day. And then you've got committee members on high-powered committees that also contribute to individual campaign funds as a committee. So they wield a very, a big stick over these guys in helping them decide on how to vote. So, that is the problem, and that is, in fact, what is so discouraging to so many voters. But we can't get discouraged because we can control this. We can't get discouraged because we know ultimately we have a sovereign God that is in control. I heard someone yesterday on radio, an astute person, talking about, look, this is about the sovereignty of God, right? So what are we doing? We don't even need to think about this. Whatever happens, happens. We don't need to fight. We shouldn't be involved. This should be a good thing. This should be something that is good for all of us that believe, because it's going to usher in maybe the end sooner. Now, there's some truth to that, probably. There's some truth to that from a theological standpoint. But I believe that the generation that saw Israel come back to being in 1948, that generation, because that's what the Bible tells us, that generation is going to see the return of the Lord. So we are living in end times if that is true. I happen to believe it's true, but we're living in that. But we can't just unfold our lounge chair and become observers. We need to fight for America because ultimately, I believe that the Lord is going to return like a thief in the night. We don't know when that day is going to be. We should be living as if it's today, but we don't know when it's going to be. And we are to fight all the more towards the end times. And we need to be found when the Lord returns. We need to be found with a sword in our hands. I know that's how I'm going to be found. And I don't believe that the Lord is going to rebuke me for that. I pray every day that I might hear the words, well done, good and faithful servant. I hope. I pray for that. I work towards that. But I do know that we've got to go down fighting and we've got to continue to fight. Listen, if we are not fighting for what is right, what meaning does it have for us to be standing on such firm ground? We have got to be continually fighting. So ultimately, that's what I'm going to keep doing. Let me talk about the economy a little bit. The Dow, the indices are in negative territory. The Dow's down 71 points right now. There is another warning that has hit the headlines. And it says that the warning signs, this isn't me. Let me just read. Money Manager, this came out about 19 minutes ago. Money managers and trading deck columnists says that he expects a crash along the lines of what we saw in 1987. He goes on to articulate his argument why. I'm not going to read it, but if you were to read it, you've heard the argument. If you are an avid listener of this program, you have heard the argument from me on all of these points. I talked a little bit about it this morning, folks. We are, and I'm just speaking, let me just speak not as an economist, an analyst, or any of that. Let me just speak from a guy who likes math, okay? When you look at the numbers, and fortunately, I've been doing it long enough, I know where to find the numbers and where to get the numbers. And you do some simple arithmetic, it's not too difficult to determine that we're going to see a crash soon. The numbers are impossible to sustain. Now, the hope has been for the last 2 years, I'm going to say, because I don't believe it's been the hope for the last since the so-called recovery started. But the hope has been for the last 2 years that what the Federal Reserve is doing, the hope has been the same hope that I've told people at town hall meetings, that look, the free market economies work. It is a powerful system. We have $3 trillion sitting on the sidelines. We have $2.2 trillion, I think is the number, sitting in money market accounts. The free market economy works. And in a free market economy and a free society, a free economic structure, when you bring into an economy the kind of money that is capable of coming into this economy, it will turn around and we will grow our way out of these problems because we will be creating a new revolution called the energy revolution. We will be creating revenues for the government to the likes of which they have never even seen. We will be creating employment that will be a robust job growth program that again is going to create revenues. That was the hope. And I think we are in a period of time where that hope has dwindled and continues to dwindle. We will have a correction. We will have a severe downturn. And if the markets come down far enough, we will all be standing in the same bread line, and we will be getting a great deal of fellowship from each other, I'm sure, in those lines. But that's what it's going to end up being. The moral depravity will be leading us there. Remember, folks, all that we have is His. Let's be found a good and faithful steward. Have a great day. God bless.